So the big news is that I bought a house, not here in Okinawa, but in Hokkaido, which is the northernmost island of Japan. So today I'm going to show you the house, but not just yet because I want to tell you a little bit more about Okinawa and some of the things that you can do here because we've decided to permanently stay in Okinawa because we like it here. Hokkaido is cold for about 5, 6 months of the year. And so my wife doesn't like the cold. So we're going to stay here where it's warmer. But I'll probably end up renting the house out if everything goes well. But I plan to spend a couple of months each year in the house and enjoy Hokkaido, maybe in the Okinawan summer when it gets very hot and humid. So we'll see how it goes. But first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Okinawa, which is a pretty cool place. And later on, we'll have a look at the house. Enjoy. We're at American Village, north of our apartment in Chatham. And it's like a theme park here. Everything's very colorful and it's right on the ocean too. You can see around here. Really interesting place, and we're just having some Chivago coffee.
Very good.
Very good, and very nice people too. I love Okinawa. We're just sitting here at Horizon Curry House, is it?
No, the Horizon, just Horizon.
Just Horizon. Horizon in American Village. Very colorful, kind of, you have to experience it. It's like a mini Disneyland with lots of shops and restaurants and stuff. And we're just sitting here having salsa salad or Mexican salad. Woohoo, thank you. Mexican salad and shrimp curry.
It looks good.
Yeah, like this. And here's the view. Very pleasant day. What is now American Village used to be an American airfield and firing range. And speaking of US bases, there are 32 in Okinawa, and they bring in somewhere between $700 million and $1.9 billion a year. This one here is a marine logistics base, and you can see it's speeded up, but the place is huge. And these bases have been used to support American operations in everywhere from Korea through to Iraq and Afghanistan. A lot of Okinawans, though, aren't very happy with them and would like to see them gone. But they do bring in about 6% of Okinawa's GDP, so I don't think they'll be going anywhere in the near future. We're on our way today to the Japanese naval underground tunnels that were used in World War II by the Japanese Navy to defend Okinawa. Should be interesting. So we're at the Japanese naval underground tunnels now. 175 people, I think, might have committed suicide here as they were losing the war, but I'm going to look into that. But there's the background, and there's my wife in her cute beanie. There's the background of Okinawa. We're now heading down to the bunker. Well, the entrance to the bunker, I suppose. The Battle of Okinawa, which was fought from April to June 1945, I think it was about 81 days, was a major battle of the Pacific War, where US forces clashed with Japanese forces on the island. It was one of the bloodiest battles of the war, with heavy casualties on both sides and amongst the civilian population. But it was significant because it was the largest amphibious assault in the Pacific theatre,
and was seen as a key step in the war against Japan. The battle was part of Operation Iceberg, which was the overall plan to invade and secure the Ryukyu Islands, including Okinawa, for the US. Now, Okinawa, being just 350 miles south of Kyushu, one of Japan's main islands, made it a crucial stepping stone for a planned invasion of the Japanese home islands. And the battle was characterized by intense and brutal fighting, both on land and at sea, including kamikaze attack on US ships. Both sides suffered immense casualties, including US military personnel, Japanese soldiers and Okinawan civilians. About 12,000 American deaths and 100,000 Japanese casualties. Many Okinawans were caught in the crossfire and either killed or forced to commit suicide by Japanese military orders. The battle demonstrated the potential for heavy casualties in a potential invasion of Japan's home islands, which influenced the decision to use atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Americans faced the fanaticism of a race of people who had been brainwashed and indoctrinated to believe that the emperor was like a god and it was their duty to die for him if necessary. And unfortunately, we're seeing the rise of this sort of fanaticism and belief in ideology again today. You think we would have learned something from the past, but no. The Japanese soldiers were quite brutal in relation to their treatment of prisoners of war, and there are many instances of our Australian troops being beheaded or tortured. And unfortunately, the Japanese seem to have learnt from this, and there are very different people nowadays, thankfully. Here we go. I believe they dug out the tunnel with tools like this. There's a lot of significance about this small room, which we'll come back to in a minute. So this is the room where they committed suicide rather than surrender by using grenades, and you can still see the shrapnel in the walls. Such a tragic end. This is the leader of the naval detachment who committed suicide alongside with many of his men. He seems to have been a good guy. When you see how extensive these tunnels are, it's pretty amazing that the naval personnel built them all themselves, just using pickaxes and shovels. In 5 months, it just goes to show how tenacious the Japanese were and are. As the invasion raged, conditions in the tunnels became worse and worse. Conditions got pretty bad at the end with foul air, lots of people crammed into small spaces, and sickness and dying. It was time to go. As you can see, the tunnels are quite extensive, and this was all done by hand. Just amazing. I guess if there's anything to learn from this, it's that embracing an ideology, any ideology, has consequences. In this case, the ideology was total obedience to the emperor, and the consequence was that an awful lot of people died unnecessarily. It led to a world war and the suicide of the men here, who I'm sure many of which were good men. Then it was time for some sushi and to discuss our experiences for the day. The tunnels were really interesting, and it just goes to show you how motivated the Japanese were during World War II, and that was their last-ditch defense on Okinawa. What a tragedy. So many people died. 1 in 4 Okinawans died in that battle. Very sad. But if you get a chance to come to Okinawa and have a look at the underground tunnels of the Japanese Navy, it's worth a visit. And this is an Okinawan cemetery, and they strike me as being strange because they put a lot of effort into it, like a huge amount of effort. And they're big structures, you know, in a place that doesn't have a lot of space. You know, I mean, everyone deals with death in different ways, but it's just kind of funny to me. These structures must cost a fortune to make in memory of their departed, which is understandable, but yeah, I just find it strange. And this is just a small one. There are some really large areas with these types of structures. They are so extensive, and the amount of energy and effort and materials put into them is just incredible. Whereas in my case, I'd rather just be cremated and my ashes thrown to the wind. So I just find it really interesting. But you wanted to hear about my new house, So here we go.
The house is pretty much exactly what I wanted because I was looking at a few criteria, and one of the criteria was that it had to have a parking place. This place has a parking place and plenty of land around it, so about 500 or so square meters of land. Secondly, it had to have either a balcony or a veranda. It has that. Inside has to be an open plan arrangement, kitchen, living room, and it has that. And also, it wasn't really a criteria, perhaps in the back of my mind, it was, and that was to be close to a train station. And this is a 3-minute walk to a train station and about 4 minutes walk to the ocean. It's also around about an hour's drive to Niseko, the major ski resort up in Hokkaido, and about 45 minutes to Rusutsu, one of the other major ski resorts up there. So it kind of turned out perfectly. I looked at a lot of places, and in not the next video, because I won't be going up to the house until, well, for another month or so, but in the video after next, we'll have a close look at the house because I'll be up there and going through it and looking at what things need to be done, what needs to be fixed up, and telling you a little bit about the area. And stick with me and you'll get to see the house at the end of this video. There'll be more to come, and I'll be going through the whole process that I went through in order to get the house. So it should be interesting.
Haha, no, that's not my house. My house is about as far north as you can get in Japan from Okinawa. Yes, it's a long way away, but I wanted something that was rural, or at least semi-rural, and also had access to the snow. Yes, that's my place, about an hour and a half from Sapporo on the island of Hokkaido, in the small town of Okishi. It cost me around 54,000 Australian dollars, and I haven't got the final bill yet, but probably about another 10,000 in expenses. As you can see, it's a big open space with plenty of room, and it's only about 24 years old, so it's still fairly modern, and there's not a lot to be done on it in terms of renovation. And it has a loft area, which was one of my criteria as well. The toilet and bathroom probably need a revamp, but that's about all. And I like all the wood and the kind of unfinished look to it. And yay, it has a balcony, well, a veranda anyway, which is just what I love.
So that's basically the house, and I'll go into a lot more detail in another month or so when I get up there to actually have a look at it. And I have my friend James coming up from Australia to give me a hand with any of the work we need to do, and probably just painting for the time being, and having a look around the area. So please like, subscribe and share, and I hope to see you in the future videos. But in the meantime, I have taken up Japanese language lessons. I've been teaching myself basically, which is a bit slow, so I decided to do formal lessons. And so I suggest that you do actually learn as much Japanese as you can before you come here. But this is what happened in my recent Japanese language class on my first day. See you next time.
So Shun-san, how was your first day of Japanese class?
Well,
Well,
it's the devil's language, and unfortunately the people in the class who were from a bunch of developing countries were much better at it than I am. So I spent the last 3 weeks doing 10 lessons of this book.
みんなの日本語 that is very popular. One of the
Yeah, it's a good book, but the the people from developing countries, they do like 150 hours of Japanese before they get here. And I would say that my last 3 weeks of doing the 10 lessons from the book probably haven't worked out to that many hours maybe. So they can actually understand and speak Japanese. And I sit there and I pick up about half of what they're saying. And then when they ask around the class, can they go, Sean-san, hi? And then they ask me a question and I'm like, what's the time? And I go, Juniji. Oh my god, what a trauma. We were doing kanji as well, you know. And if you think the Japanese is the devil's language, well, kani is the devil's language in writing. Kanji is the devil's language in writing. And I have no idea what's going on. But so I have a long way to go. But if you ever come to Japan, please learn the language before you come. Otherwise, okay. Good luck.